This factory builds cars from the ground to the roof. Imagine a car factory, endless, flat, predictable. Now, forget everything you know, because in Turin, Italy, Fiat built something impossible. A car starts as raw metal on the ground floor. Floor by floor, it becomes something more, an engine, a body, a machine. And by the time it reaches the roof, it's ready to race. Yes, a full-speed test track, right on top of the building. This wasn't just a factory, it was a machine. And this wasn't a concept, it was real. So how did they pull this off? And why does this building still fascinate architects today? Let's find out. In 1916, Fiat had a problem. They needed to build cars faster. But there was one limitation: space. Turin was already dense, and traditional factories, they spread out for miles. Long floors, endless movement, constant delays. It worked, but it wasn't efficient. So instead of building bigger, Fiat asked a different question. What if we built higher? The architect, Giacomo Mattei Trucco, proposed something radical. Don't move cars across the factory, move them up, through it. The result? A 5-story vertical system. Not just a building, a process. Think of it like this. A car enters as raw material at the ground floor. Then it begins to climb, level by level. Floor 1, casting. Floor 2, machining. Floor 3, assembly. Floor 4, finishing. And by the time it reaches the top, it's no longer parts. It's a complete car, ready for the ultimate test. And here's the genius. They didn't just design a factory. They designed movement. Gravity did the work. Time was reduced. Everything flowed in one direction. But why go to all this trouble? Because in the 1920s, speed meant survival. And for Fiat, Lingotto wasn't just efficient, it was revolutionary. Constructing a 5-story factory with a racetrack on the roof. In the 1920s, that wasn't just bold, it was insane. This thing was enormous. Concrete, steel, machinery, everything stacked on top of everything else. But the real secret wasn't the size, it was the structure. Giacomo Mattei Trucco had a problem to solve. Weight, cars, machines, workers, all moving, all the time. The floors couldn't just hold it, they had to absorb it, so he designed a reinforced concrete skeleton, a forest of massive columns. They carried the entire load, while the walls did almost nothing. It was one of the earliest examples of modern structural thinking at this scale. But here's the real question. How do you move cars through a building like this? You don't lift them. You let them drive. Inside the structure, hidden from the outside, are 2 giant spirals, a double helix ramp system. A car enters at the bottom and begins to climb, turning, rising, accelerating, floor by floor, until it reaches the roof. No stops, no dead ends, just one continuous motion. It was a machine that inhaled raw materials and exhaled finished cars. When Lingotto opened, it didn't just impress Italy, it shocked the world. Even Le Corbusier, one of the greatest architects of the century, called it one of the most impressive spectacles in industry. This wasn't just architecture anymore. It was an idea, a vision of how the modern world should work. But even the most perfect machines don't last forever. The car is finished, complete, ready to go. But this is where things get strange. Most factories would load it onto a truck, not Lingotto. They put it on the roof. Imagine standing in Turin, 1928. You look up, and then you hear it. An engine, roaring, above the city. Not on the street, in the sky. Up there sits a racetrack, an elevated oval, with steep, banked curves. Cars racing 2 stories above everything else. This wasn't just a test, it was a statement. As soon as a car left the assembly line, it didn't stop. It climbed through the building until it reached the top. And then it accelerated. 2 massive curves, tilted just enough to hold the car in place. Speed, noise, motion. Think about it. They weren't just testing cars, they were proving them, on top of the very machine that built them. It was engineering turned into theater. If a car could survive this track, it could survive anything. For decades, this rooftop became a symbol, not just of Fiat, but of a new kind of thinking, a direct link between production and performance. But the world doesn't stay the same. Cars changed, production changed, and eventually, the machine couldn't keep up. Every machine eventually slows down. By the 1970s, the world had changed. Cars became more complex, production became faster, more flexible, and Lingotto, it couldn't keep up. Those elegant spiral ramps, once revolutionary, became a bottleneck. Cars could climb them, but not fast enough. And the structure itself, those massive concrete columns, they couldn't adapt. They were fixed, rigid, unchanging. The machine was now a cage. So in 1982, Lingotto built its last car. And then, silence. A factory that once roared with motion, now stood still. Most buildings like this would be demolished, forgotten. But Lingotto refused to disappear. Architects saw something else, not a factory, but a possibility. They preserved the structure, they kept the ramps, they kept the track, but they changed everything else. Hotels, offices, shops, a new life inside an old machine, a ghost of the industrial age, reimagined. Lingotto teaches us something powerful. We don't just design buildings, we design moments in time. And one day, every future becomes the past. So the next time you look at a building from above, ask yourself, what story is it hiding? This is Via to the Sky. We don't just show you the world, we reveal what it means. Which place should we uncover next? Let me know below. Keep looking up.